Very happy new year to all of you. 2020, lots of excitement. We are not going to have jokes on the year 2020 and the format 2020. So let's get that out of the way very quickly. But a very happy new year to you and hope we'll get some excellent cricket in the year ahead. So here we are with My 11th Circle presents Cricbuzz Live in the company of two people who watch a lot of cricket. Zaheer Khan is here alongside us. Last I saw Zaheer, he was marking out his run-up and playing T10 cricket.
That long ago you saw me.
I mean, on the
you saw me during the auction as well.
He saw you in the auction, but you were not marking your run about on the auction. You were passing.
In fact, we are the one who are missing you.
That's okay. And Joy Bhattacharjya is here as well. Got any sly questions?
No sly questions. I think it's platform boots are back. Friends is having a resurgence. India's playing Sri Lanka. It's the 90s all over again.
India has played Sri Lanka every year since 1983. I mean, your entire career. And before and after, every year we play Sri Lanka.
That's been the story, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
If there is a gap, okay, Sri Lanka, either India goes to Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka comes.
Yeah, they got tested in 82. So
Sri Lanka is our 2 a.m. friend. The one you call up and say, okay, there's a tour, somebody is missing, oh, come over. They've been very good to us.
Yeah, we started laughing already in 2020. This is in Guwahati now. The reason I'm mentioning that right up front is Guwahati is as far east as you can go in Indian cricket. Indian international cricket, there are lots of grounds around that area. And 6:30 is well into late evening. Gets dark by, Joy, 4 o'clock?
3:30, 3:45 it's dark.
Because we were in Kolkata in November, and at 5 o'clock in November it was pitch dark. So it's dark. On the pitch report they said there's dew already. So it won't matter that much for either side. And as Zach was saying, as we were all getting together, dew play the extra quick. India are playing 3 fast bowlers. It's something you've seen a lot with Mumbai Indians as well. Always play 3 fast bowlers plus the extra seam option. So that's what India are doing.
This attack is looking more balanced now, I think, and you don't look at the names. I think just the disciplines you should focus on. I think 3 fast bowlers is the right way to go in this format. Have that extra cushion as a 6th bowler. You have the luxury to choose between a spinner or a fast bowling all rounder. So that's something which has changed the balance of this attack for sure. I always prefer to go in with 6th bowling option. In this format, it's important that you have that 6th bowling option if need be, because it's just the dynamics of this format. You at times there is such a little time to kind of react to a situation, and you have to be proactive, and that's something which gives the captain also that comfort if someone is having an off day to go to the 6th option. But nonetheless, these 5 bowlers are looking like they will do the job for you. So the 6th bowler may not be required, but as Virat Kohli himself said that he preferred the off spin option. Yes. Because of the fact that there are a lot of left-handers in Sri Lankan side. So that's a tactical call, So you have 2 spin options, 3 seam bowling options, and 4th seaming option in all-rounder gives you that good balance to go in a match with.
Now your friend Murli Karthik did the pitch report. He said it was tacky and rough to the hand, which might suggest that it'll help spinners, but with the dew it was a very easy decision for Virat Kohli to say we will chase in earlier grounds as well, earlier matches as well. Chasing teams have won in Guwahati. It's not a high scoring ground, so that would make chasing that much easier too. So it was 7 o'clock start and play 20 overs, so we'll be done by 10 o'clock. And IPL starting 8 o'clock, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, IPL good 8 o'clock starts. Right, we looked at that Indian side there. There's a couple of things to look forward to there, but the biggest is the return of Bumrah. We're going to talk about that in some detail, but that's something that hits you straight up front there, doesn't it?
He's such a quality bowler. And not only that, the kind of impact that he has in formats, his being there is a huge difference to the team. And the other thing is, we were talking throughout the previous series, you remember the one problem that India was talking about was death over bowling. And that's your one instant solution. Immediately you right away, they're saying, okay, 2 of my death overs are taken care of. It's so important. I mean, he's so good in that death that it's unbelievable. I mean, those figures just speak
for the whole
for themselves.
Run. It's 1 run extra, the economy rate. Everything changes when Bumrah's in the side.
He's an X-factor bowler, I think. Not only in the bowling department, I think the support staff, captain, everyone will be at. He's saying that okay, Bumrah is back now. We have someone to go to in a tough situation. Yeah.
Did you get the feeling against West Indies, Bangladesh? And I got it a couple of times there that Kohli was looking around and saying, but I wish my eyes settled on Bumrah. I mean, this is no disrespect to the other bowlers, but as Zach said, Bumrah just brings in that extra factor. Right, now my 11 circle expert advice. Who's going to score maximum points? My 11 circle. Mr. Bhattacharjya, you're the old hand at Fantasy Leagues.
No, I'm just
Come on, all in yellow today. Come on.
Very safe here. I will go with
Virat Kohli. No, not allowed.
Okay, not no, Virat Kohli. I'll go with one of the openers. I'll go with KL Rahul simply because he's in good nick. It's always in these formats, given it's 20 overs, it's always, if you're going to choose a bat, choose 1, 2 or 3. Don't go beyond that. Doesn't make sense.
Well, that has been the general trend, isn't it? You got to have a batsman in your squad for sure. You know, that is something which gives you comfort with the point scoring. But today, since the man is returning and we are talking so much about him, I think I'll go with Jasprit Bumrah for today's match. Someone who can make that impact. Maybe take some wickets early on, and even though dew has settled in, at times it actually helps you provide that sea movement, especially with the new hard ball. So that's something which I'm expecting, and he has been a force to reckon with, especially against Sri Lanka. It all started at that Nidas trophy, right?
Yes.
When he was getting that white ball to go away from the right hander. Yeah, so I'm really excited to see Bumrah and how he goes about, since he's coming off a decent layoff, so he'll be fresh and raring to go.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit more about Jasprit Bumrah. We've got the Sri Lankan squad in, and let's see what it's looking like. There's so many options. Now, there's some very interesting players there. The first thing that strikes you is no Angelo Matthews.
Yeah.
They called him back and they didn't pick him. How many of these went to Pakistan? That was a big series. Avishka Fernando was excellent at the World Cup. He's a very promising prospect. Oshada Fernando, I saw him finish a game in Pakistan. Very, very fine player. Kusal Pereira, I think, is the most dangerous player amongst all those there. Bhanuka Rajapaksa, you've got to be careful, isn't it? All Rajapaksas are in power today. So Bhanuka has to be there. Then Dhananjay De Silva, Dasun Shanaka is a very dangerous slower order batsman. So let's look at the bowling. Malinga, Lahiru Kumara, Dasun Shanaka, 3 seamers.
Yeah.
Hasaranga and Dhananjay De Silva are the spinners. So they've got 6 bowling options actually. Maybe they're not counting Dhananjay De Silva as much of a bowling option. Hasaranga, and it's actually 4 seamers. I don't know if when he said 3 seamers at the toss, whether he didn't include Dasun Shanaka among the seamers and included him more as a lower order hitter.
As a batsman.
Kasun Rajitha is the more recognized seamer. He's not in the side. So there you were, Sri Lanka playing 11. First thoughts on that 11?
Firstly, I mean, what I like about it is that they've taken Angelo Matthews and Dickwala. So one interesting thing is they're not going by reputation. They're not going by, okay, what is this guy looking like? Angelo Matthews, I've got him here. I have to play him because he's Angelo Matthews. And he's been a great of Sri Lankan cricket for a while. Maybe injuries has not given him the kind of form he has now. But it's very, very interesting when a team picks on form. And this looks like a team that literally the last 2 nets they've had a look at and said, these guys are looking good, we're going to go with these.
Also, a lot of those have played T20 cricket. You look at Angelo Matthews, he's a very fine test player. He's a good one-day player. T20 has not always been his strongest format. Career strike rate is 118. Yeah. Now, you're fine playing him if you want batting average rather than strike rate. But some of these younger players are looking really good. It's interesting they picked their most experienced player and didn't play him.
I think what's the whole thing. If you just go back to the World Cup, which happened in the previous year, and you'll see that what was the missing factor. That missing factor was Sri Lanka needed that leader. Someone who can guide. They've gone back to Malinga now. I think that's a very positive sign because under his leadership they've won the T20 World Cup as well. He's someone who's really a team's guy. He will always think about what is important for the team, how team can go forward. And I think that was a missing link as far as Sri Lankan cricket was concerned. Angelo Matthews, yes, they have tried to set him up as a leader. He couldn't really deliver with the circumstances around, whatever the reasons may be. But I think they still need that guidance of some senior batsmen who can have that calming nerves. May not be part of the playing 11, but actually, that chatter which goes around and that banter which goes around in the team dressing room, around the chats around how you should approach a particular situation is also equally important. So they have someone like Lasith Malinga now, as far as bowling is concerned, to guide all the bowlers, and they have Angelo Matthews' services to just kind of play a different sort of role, and then when is required, his services will be used. So I think that's the kind of approach which Sri Lankan cricket is taking now by the looks of it. And if they are looking at the future in this manner, then I think you'll see some good days ahead for Sri Lankan cricket as well.
No Niroshan Dikwella. That means the press conference will be all right.
A bit easier.
I'm
He's not going to be mistaken.
But I'm not De Silva, I'm Dikwella. I'm not De Silva. Will you score 100? But I'm already out. That was hilarious.
I know, poor chap. And after that, he said maybe second innings.
Maybe second innings. But
he just didn't want to let the journalists down.
There's another good player. Now, this is the start of a lot of T20 cricket for India. I said I won't talk about 2020 and 2020 cricket, but that's exactly what it is this year. India playing a whole lot of T20 cricket this year, starting 3 games here against Sri Lanka. Then one day for a while, 3 against Australia. Then they go to New Zealand and they play a lot of T20s in New Zealand. These are the 3 that we're talking about now, Jan 5 to 10. Quick turnaround there. Then Australia come to India. Those are one-day internationals. So that's 14th to the 19th. Then the full tour, big tour of New Zealand. That's 5 T20s and 3 one-day internationals. So that's 8 T20 internationals already this year. South Africa come in just before the IPL to play 3 ODIs. Now, assuming that the lead players are all injury-free, they're going to play another 14 games over there.
Yeah.
So for a lot of them, that's 8 and 14, 22 already. India go in June, July, play another 3 T20s in Sri Lanka. There's an Asia Cup, at least 6 games per side. And then England come to India. There's some talk it might be England, it might be New Zealand. As of now, it's England. That's September, October, before India go to the World T20. But India don't play warm-up games at the World T20. Instead, they play 3 more. So there's about 25, 27 T20 internationals apart from the IPL. It is a 2020 year. I mean, after the 2 test matches against New Zealand, India don't play test matches till December. Yeah. Between February and December, there's no test match this year.
No, it's amazing. I think they've set it up well. Clearly, it's also the vision is that this is going to be a T20 year. Last year, last 18 months, we had focused on the World Cup. We're going to focus on T20 cricket. It's 2020. You can make all the bad jokes. But my point is also, I think it's a bit interesting that 40 games is a lot also in terms of load management. Because if you're going to look at a player like Bumrah now, or you're looking at, already 2 of your bowlers have broken down. What kind of management are you going to do moving forward? Because see, these guys are going to play their IPL games. They have to. Because that gives them more money than the money they make in the rest of the year. It's unfair of them not to look at their living. But if you look at the rest of the year, managing our bowling resources will be a huge factor, especially the fast bowlers, given it's Australia.
I think Virat Kohli has said that he's not going to be too worried about who's going to play that World T20 till after the IPL is over. So we've got lots of time before that. But remember, India haven't won an ICC tournament for a while now. That Champions Trophy of 2013, a lot of fans are talking about it. That's 5 tournaments in a row. Remember, in each one of those tournaments, India played excellent cricket to get to the knockout stages and then had that one bad day, or as Virat Kohli says, just one set of 30 minutes in 2019 that caused so much heartbreak. So how important is that World T20? I think Ravi Shastri said that it is it's an obsession, I think. He said, it's an obsession for me. I'm going to chase it down with my team and we're going to chase that tournament. That'll be the cherry on the cake. What's your thought on it being an obsession?
Well, it's important to a certain degree that you are obsessed about winning the World Cup. Yeah. It has to be boiled down to that calmness as well. So you have to strike that right balance as well. From the coaching side, from the coach, if he's saying that he's obsessed and he wants to win the World Cup, he's sending a strong signal that all my troop, be aware that okay, this is what our goal is. So it's important to let everyone know that this is our goal, and then we are working towards it. I'm sure that with knowing Ravi, he likes to be out there,
make the big statement,
and put it out there, and then be sensible also.
Was it like that in 2011 for you? Obsessed, we have to win this. We have to win this World Cup, and
It was not an obsession as such, I would say, but the talks of World Cup had started way before
in advance,
actually the
correct.
World Cup started.
But within the squad itself, was that talk? Nahi, ye to jeetna hi hai, we have to win this.
Well, yes, I mean, to a certain degree, it was not that intense, but the will to win the World Cup was there. And like I said, those chats really help. I mean, there can be strong chats about it, or there can be mild discussions about it.
I think I know
But
who
as
would have
long
been the
as
strong would have been the mild. You would have been the mild.
as long as at the back of your head, as long as you're thinking about the World Cup, as long as you're thinking about situations and how you will respond in a particular situation, I think what went missing in the 2019 World Cup for this team, yes, you can talk about that 30 minutes didn't go your way, but was there the planning, or was there a discussion of, if 30 minutes doesn't go your way, what are your answers? I think, those answers are equally important. And those questions are even more important. If you don't ask those questions to yourself, you're never going to find answers. And I think, to me, when I was looking at 2019 World Cup, it was that question was always lingering, but that question was never being taken seriously. And you had to answer that question in that particular situation, which you didn't have answer to. Yes. So that is something which one should look at a lesson and the learnings from that World Cup and implement that in this World Cup. And when you look at this T20 World Cup, I mean, the basic question which comes to my mind is like, what is going to be your combination? Yeah. The names can change, but the structure, the skeleton of the team has to remain the same. So if you're playing in Australia, you got to play 3 fast bowlers. Yes. So even if in that FTP which you're showing, the future two tours, in that, a lot of the matches are played in the Indian conditions. Yes. So even if the matches are played in Indian conditions, I think you have to approach it in such a manner that you stick to the skeleton which you are making. In Australia, you're not going to play with 3 spinners. So you have to play with 3 seamers. So it doesn't matter what the conditions are. You put that responsibility on seamers because that's the combination you will be playing with in Australia as well.
It's interesting that Zach should say that, because Zach also sits in the dugout for the team that's won the IPL most times. Correct. And they always play 4 seamers. They always play Hardik plus 3 and 2 spinners. So the Mumbai Indians' success has been built around 2 overseas quicks, Jasprit Bumrah plus Hardik as the 4th and 2 spinners. So maybe that is the way to go.
That's true. And I want to come back to one more point. When you're looking at 2011, okay, you're judging a dressing room which is being run by Dhoni and Kirsten. Yes. Their style was quiet. It was understated. They are not the kind to say, we'll go and win everything. That's not their style. This is Virat, okay? This is Virat and Shastri, which is a very different kind of this thing. They want to go out there and make the bold statement up front. I don't think in their approaches they're going to be very different in this thing. The big point about it is exactly as, when a corporate says, I have a goal, I want to win a World Cup. You put a goal up front first. The only thing you can ensure is that the systems are in place. That means, can I get 5 fit fast bowlers for Australia? Can I get this for Australia? Can I get these things done? He's absolutely right. Those 30 minutes are going to go wrong sometime or the other. Do I have adequate reserves?
Those 30 minutes have gone wrong before too. Champions Trophy final 2017, top 3 wickets go down. So it's interesting that India's biggest strength, which is those top 3, actually becomes your biggest limitation, because if those 3 don't fire, you don't have anyone else. But 2020 has started with rain. It's raining in Guwahati. It's raining in Guwahati. What has changed? It is coming down quite hard actually in Guwahati. Now, problem is it's going to be a delayed start. The advantage is we've got Zach here, we've got Joy here. We can talk about a few more things. And I'm particularly excited by 2 players in this Indian side. When play does eventually start, my eyes will be moving towards 2 players. One at the top of the order and one with the new ball in his hand. So since Zach is here with us, we'll talk about the one with the new ball in hand. We showed you Jasprit Bumrah's figures recently, just a little while ago. But what is interesting is what Lasith Malinga said. He said Jasprit Bumrah is coming back from injury. He's the number 1 bowler, but he's coming back from injury, and we will try and target the fact that he is rusty. How difficult is it to come back from injury? I mean, I think he bowled in the nets to, the report was to KL Rahul and Sanju Samson, and he was making them hop. So,
well, I think, it's just the mind game which is going on there, when someone is making that kind of statement. And he's, Lasith Malinga is captain as well. So, he's making sure that he's doing his best to give his team that advantage. As far as comebacks are concerned, that doubt, that those nerves are always there. So make no mistake there. Bumrah will be feeling that. But in terms of preparation, he must have ticked all the boxes as well. So that gives you strength. So when you are coming off a layoff and you go back there in a match scenario, match situation, that rustiness is there in terms of just getting the feel of the game, getting the thing going. That one wicket, that one perfect release of the cricket ball from your hand gets you going there. So the lead up to that is always that anxiety level is high. But in terms of preparation, I don't doubt it. I'm sure Bumrah must have done enough to tick all the boxes and be ready for the game. Yeah. He just has to look at that mental side, and that goes away with just a one good release or one good wicket. Yeah.
Interestingly, Bumrah said he was largely pain-free in this entire period, and so he's used the opportunity to get physically stronger. So it wasn't as bad an injury as we thought, but this was preventive, and he's used the time to become stronger.
Injury is something it differs case to case. So I think in his case, what he was trying to say
was a fear of injury.
Yeah, what he was trying to say, maybe that he was in a situation where injury didn't really restrict him from training, and he could start his training as early as possible. And because of that, he had that long time in terms of working on his fitness and get stronger, get more fitter before he's actually ready to go back on the field and bowl.
Yeah, and because sometimes you're actually injured, and sometimes there's an injury looming, and so you say, right, let's stop the injury there, let's take some time off. India's going through a wonderful phase with fast bowlers. It was a good opportunity to throw Deepak Chahar in, but he's injured now. Then Shardul Thakur, Navdeep Saini as well. But there's been discussions between Saurav Ganguly and Rahul Dravid about the role of the NCA, largely because Bhuvneshwar Kumar took a long time to heal, Wriddhiman Saha took a long time to heal, Jasprit Bumrah and Hardik Pandya preferred to train on their own. But Saurav Ganguly has said eventually we will have to go back to the NCA. And my gut feel is between Ganguly and Dravid, and they understand Indian cricket as well as anybody else, their heart beats for Indian cricket, they've got to make an NCA a place where you want to go.
Absolutely. See, there are two parts to this. One is that the NCA will remain the authority. The Indian physio and the NCA will remain the authority for saying, is this guy fit or not? That final test has to be done by somebody. It can't be somebody who has a conflict of interest like this person's personal physio. So let's leave that aside. You are going to be the final testing authority always. For junior players and all who can't afford a physio, who don't have their own physio, who are not sure of the game, NCA remains the port of call. So what are we left with? We are left with the players like the Bumrahs of this world, the Manish Pandeys of this world, particularly let's go to fast bowlers because they and keepers are the ones who tend to break down the most, and say these guys now have a situation where a lot of money is riding on their fitness. Okay, so they have their personal physios, and their personal physios and trainers probably know their bodies better. So my question is, do you tell a Bumrah, no, this is the guy, this is my way or the highway? Because he'll turn around and say, this guy knows my body, he knows my body better than anyone else for the last 6 months. Okay, he knows me best. I have known a lot of cases of this. I mean, I remember even Zach, Ashish Nehra, during the IPL, in those days also, they'd call up somebody like Andrew Lepus and just say, because Andrew knew their bodies well, say, Andrew, something's happening, should I do this, should I do that? Because that's what happens. You get, somebody knows your body well. Now so I'm not sure that saying that the NCA can be the last judge saying that, okay, are you fit or you unfit? But having the NCA as everyone has to go to the NCA and that's the only way. Does it make sense?
Was there a fear that I may not be able to train the way I want to or recover the way I want to at the NCA? I'd much rather do it in a home environment where I'm with people that I know and at my own leisure. Was that your reading of what happened with Bumrah?
I think, look, you have to look at the overall scenario and situation. I think, for me personally, I've always believed that NCA has been the great kind of a setup, for Indian cricket. It was founded a couple of decades back, right? It was founded in 2000, and look at the contribution of NCA overall in Indian cricket. So the methods, the protocols which have been set by NCA, and in terms of getting everyone on the same page. So if you look at the pre-NCA setup and post-NCA setup, there are a lot of positives which have happened in Indian cricket. Now there is a situation and scenario where a certain players have raised the red flag saying that, okay, they are not happy or anything of that sort. You have to address that issue in that manner. So end of the day, when you are injured, it's something which is an individual call. You can say that always has to be there. The individual preference always has to be set, but also the protocols needs to be set in terms of NCA being the final authority.
Yeah.
And when I'm saying that protocol, those follow-ups, that monitoring can happen through NCA. But when it comes to an individual who wants to train with a particular trainer, there is no harm.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, right? Yeah.
I think because every case is different, every injury is different. So you have to deal with, you cannot set a uniform rule for all the injuries is what I feel. I think, it's about understanding each case and then lining up that process of recovery or the program which can follow, because some injuries take 2 weeks, some injuries can take as long as a year. So that's something which you can't have a uniform protocol for that. But I think what is important is that cricket is number one game, and it's a number one game should get those kind of help around it and that kind of support system. So if any injury, you have to find the number one guy in terms of dealing with that injury is what my feeling is. So for that, if it means that a player has to travel abroad, then so be it. If someone has to come to India, then so be it. But I think in terms of the approach, you have to have the best kind of person dealing with that particular scenario. And since there are so many specialists in all the areas, I think there should be many people involved with NCA, and those kind of protocols, those kind of guidelines should be set so that these kind of issues are not surfaced.
Luckily for India, budgets haven't always been a problem, and to be fair, and this is something that's not pointed out often enough, the BCCI has not been tight-fisted with the recovery of its players, right? I mean, as you said, where is the best treatment available? And India's players have managed to get the best treatment well, wherever it's available. Quick news from Guwahati, the umpires came out, it's raining again.
No, but I'll tell you, from Sachin's operation, back operation, if you remember, it happened.
Yeah, you must say back operation, because if you say Sachin's operation, people won't know which one.
Yeah, back operation, and which was a big one. And they have always backed up. See, my point is, if I'm the NCA, what I want to do is turn around and say, look, I'm the NCA, you're Ridhiman Saha, you saying you need somebody else to guide you in this particular situation, I'm okay with it. All I need is all the reports that are happening, please give me the reports so I know exactly what's going on with you, so I can report exactly what's happening with you. B is that when you finally, before we tell Virat Kohli you're ready to play or not, or Ravi Shastri, come here and give the last test out here. That's all I need to do. All I need to do is monitor. All I need to do is know what's happening, because he's an important asset for us. I need to know what's happening. But I think give senior players the opportunity to do what they do best. If they feel that they want to have their home cooked food while doing it and they're more comfortable doing it in Baroda, give them, these are senior guys, give them that chance.
Let's look at the other side a little bit as well. Why do India start favourites against Sri Lanka? Remember, Sri Lanka didn't have a great 2019, but they produced to my mind, two of the most remarkable results of 2019. I thought winning a test series in South Africa, winning it 2-0 or something else, one of the greatest results in the history of Sri Lankan cricket. But they sent a team without some of their key players to Pakistan and won 3-0. And a lot of the players would have gone there, played in that slightly high pressure situation and come out well. But the numbers are not in favour of Sri Lanka, because if you look at the numbers, look at simple things, not too complicated, averages, strike rates, economy rates, you look at things like those. Now, simple things, look at T20 batting averages post the World T20 of 2016. There hasn't been a major T20 tournament since then. In India, right up on the top with batting averages, and well, there's other teams close by, but pretty much at the top on strike rates as well. Notice no Sri Lanka in there yet. No Sri Lanka go all the way down. Sri Lanka right at the bottom under Ireland, Zimbabwe, Bangladesh when it comes to averages and strike rates. And there's a reason why everyone thinks India start favourites on this. With bowling, the numbers are pretty similar too. Sri Lanka down at the bottom. India's economy and strike rates are much better. So you've got to believe India start favourites. But is there such thing as a favourite in T20 cricket at all?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think the format is such a dynamic format that you cannot actually on your day you can beat any team. Like it's a kind of format where if you just have two batsmen in your batting lineup and then they play 20 overs, they can set up a total for your bowlers. Okay. And so that's why the bowlers become even more important in this format to have that kind of quality to be able to contain any batting lineup. So that's something which always has been the case, and you actually see that the teams doing consistently well in this format. You'll see that bowlers they have those kind of quality bowlers to make that impact.
See, my big problem with Sri Lanka right now is that sometimes what we call the top of your mind things are accurate as well. If you went and asked 20 years back, name 2 Sri Lankan players, somebody would say Jayasuriya Kalavatarne, Murli, this thing. Even 10 years back, 5 years back, you'd say Sangakkara, Jayawardene, 100%.
Dilshan was a great top player.
Malinga. Today, if you ask them to name, they'll be hard pressed. They'd say Malinga, they'll be hard pressed to find a second name.
I think I'd say Kusal Pereira.
Maybe
but
Kusal
he's erratic. If he comes good, he can win.
None of them have given the kind of consistency that those guys have given, and that's the truth of the matter. I mean, the fact of it is, Sri Lanka cricket had a fantastic run. They've always punched above their weight, and for a country that size, remember they kept reaching World Cup finals. They did very well 2007, 2011. They've done excellently for themselves.
Actually,
it's just now that we have hit the
There's one other factor. Let's put up that Sri Lankan T20 team that's playing today. Angelo Matthews is not in it, but also not in it is someone who's in the squad but who's been their most talked about young player, and he's just fading away. That's Kusal Mendes. Now you're looking at Avishka Fernando, you're looking at Oshada Fernando, you're looking at Dhananjay De Silva, has had a couple of good years, but you don't know if they'll become big players. Everyone thought Kusal Mendes will be a big player. He's that fabulous 100 against India, I still remember a couple of years ago. But a lot of their players, and I drew the parallel with Pakistan fast bowlers. The Pakistan fast bowlers come up, and the next day there's another flower in the garden. Similarly, I get the feeling with Sri Lanka that the batsmen are not reaching where they can.
Even you start this from Angelo Matthews. In 2009, if you remember that T20 World Cup, Angelo Matthews came and opened the bowling, batted beautifully. He was there. Dinesh Chandimal. Yeah. He was looked at the next big guy. Dinesh Chandimal is going to happen. Kushal Mendes. So that they've had a lot of stutters. You know what you mean? Guys have not sort of reached out and done it. Whether it's a system which is not working, but none of them have taken bloom like say a Jayawardene or a Sangakkara have. And that I think is the most serious problem.
Those players don't come.
They're generational players. Yeah, absolutely.
But also this is a sport where there's a lot of experience. Right behind Zach, on that screen, we've been seeing Saurav Ganguly come up, but we've also been seeing Shane Watson come up. And you said you saw Shane Watson is hitting the ball well. All you CSK fans, listen to this.
Absolutely, I think he's someone actually who's getting more calmer, more at ease as he's getting older. So that's something which is another thing to look for in a shorter format. Like you've seen that experienced players have been consistently doing well, and that's something maybe the way forward for most of the teams.
Harsha, you were making this very interesting point where you were saying that T20 is a format where age actually doesn't seem to make that.
I always thought, and it's probably still true, that T20 is about playing fearless cricket, because you can't say this is my reputation, I better do well because you lose 3-4 overs in that. But we're now discovering that the experienced players, because they've been there before, they've won and lost, they're calmer, and they're actually playing better. And CSK is a great example of that. Every year you think, this is the last year these set of guys will play. And sure as ever, next year they're all back again playing this year in the IPL.
I think one thing which takes a lot of weightage is decision making under pressure. That is a very important component of shorter format. As the game gets shorter, those tactical things matter a lot, and you have to have that decision making ability in a short span of time and absorb that pressure. That's something which only experience can buy you.
The experienced players are doing that, so who knows?
So I'm not, my biggest worry.
You're wearing yellow today, so I'm not even
exactly. For the T20 World Cup, my biggest, for the IPL, my biggest worry is Zach will just look around and say, Malinga's come back, why not? Just roll up my arm and go back in again. He can do 4 overs anytime. And he's been doing the T10.
I'm enjoying my good life too much.
Okay, now we've got, it's around this time on our program that we say, right, how many runs will the team batting first make? But it's still raining. So we've got, before we go into, we'll give you time to think about how many overs there will be and whatever. We've got a joy factor today.
Yep.
Are you in good form for the first of 2020?
And I've set up nice outswing ball. I mean, just give it respect. Give the ball respect.
Are you telling people please don't answer in 2 seconds or?
Yeah, no. This is a Crick Rohit. This is a 3-second Crick Rohit. Or Crick Rohit.
3 seconds?
Yeah, 3 to 5 seconds. He'll answer this.
Okay, let's see.
I wager you will get it just around the same time.
You know, he started to say, I wager you'll get it later, but you corrected yourself. Okay, go on.
In Test cricket, if it's Graeme Smith for South Africa,
Yeah,
Waqar Younis for Pakistan, Rashid Khan for Afghanistan, Shakib Al Hasan for Bangladesh, and Ian Craig for Australia, who is it for India?
Okay, send your answers with hashtag Cricbuzz Live. 3, 2, 1, time's up.
Okay. You've got it. No, I know you've got it.
Because some questions are generation things. There's a clue there. Some questions are generation things. Okay, it's raining. So, my 11th circle presents expert couch. Not present, my 11th circle expert couch. How many overs will there be per side today?
Considering they can play on for a while with the conditions, how badly is it raining?
It's pouring.
Okay.
Yeah.
11 overs.
11 aside.
11.
Okay. I mean, this is a lottery. Zach, you might have played 15 years. You have no better way of answering.
And this is not that, he can say that, okay, was it the heavy roller? I can smell it. The tides. This is too far away, Guwahati. Even Zach's tides won't help.
And if I say no match, then also that.
No, but that could be that could be an answer.
If it's pouring heavy, then yeah, maybe no match.
Okay, 11, no match. I'm always optimist, right? 13 overs aside, chalo, let's see. Even 13 overs aside means you're losing 7 into 2, 14 overs. That's about an hour plus the hour that you can make up. So there's long time to go. That's also allowed us to keep going about 15 minutes longer than we did, but good chat about NCA, about everything else. I also want to talk about Shikhar Dhawan. We'll do that just before India are about to bat, because I think it's a big 3 games for Shikhar Dhawan too. Bad news about the fact that who's the other young opening batsman?
Prithvi Shaw.
Prithvi Shaw has gone back. See, in my advancing years, I'm forgetting. Prithvi Shaw has gone. We'll talk about all that when we come back in the mid-innings break. But for the moment, the year has started damp. We'll be back with you when the play starts, and we've got a little bit more to talk about. Cricbuzz Combox in the midway through that innings.